Hello everyone, and welcome to my living room. I am broadcasting to you from here today because it's 87 degrees and my office is pretty much an oven. Another result of this, I'm wearing a slightly more abbreviated head covering. This is what I usually wear during the spring and summer because, well, like I said, it's 87 degrees. It's very warm, for me at least. Alright, a lot of you have expressed curiosity about my religious background, my thought processes, am I really a Muslim or not, that kind of thing. This is basically an introduction. This isn't going to address all of those questions right now. This is mainly just explaining some of my background and why I choose to dress modestly. I'm not sure if I'm going to make a video about my religious beliefs or not. Possibly, or I may just keep on telling you the truth, which is I am not a Muslim. I am a pagan. I follow a Scottish myth cycle. You're gonna have to believe that eventually, because that's the only truth that I have to give you about my religion. Okay, as you'll notice throughout this video, I'm gonna be reading from these pieces of paper. I'm a very introverted person. When it comes to talking about things having to do with myself, I tend to think too much in my own mind. I get distracted by tangents, and it's not always easy for me to stay on track. It's also just in general not easy for me to talk about myself. So I wrote this all out beforehand, and I'm going to be reading it to you. If you have any questions about what I'm going to talk about here, that's fine. If you want to discuss any of it in a completely positive manner, that's also fine. But I am not willing to debate about any of this. I mean it. I'm not willing to debate about any of this, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm not telling anybody that this is how they should live. This is how I've found a way for myself to live. This is my own thinking for me. I don't say that anyone else has to do it. If you like it, okay, fine. Think about it for yourself, but you don't have to do it. This is how I live. As a result of that, since I'm not pushing it on anybody else, I'm not going to debate it. I'm not going to accept people saying, oh, that's wrong. Okay, it's wrong for you, but it's still right for me. That's the point. An introduction. When I was a teenager, I was doing a lot of research into the roots of punk, specifically the punk scene of the early 1970s in London. Reading books like And God Said Let There Be Punk made me see that one of the main themes of the original punk movement was not anarchy, but personal freedom in the purest sense of the term. Being comfortable with your own personality and beliefs, to show yourself to the world and remain resilient even when scorned. This concept, combined with the aggressively defensive stance which many people, such as Johnny Rotten and Susie, took, resonated well with my personality. This was how these people chose to change their world. When I was a teenager, I wanted to be like that. I liked that us against them mentality. It suited me. Unfortunately, as I saw in politics and mainstream culture then, as well as now, being a rebel in that same way just doesn't work anymore. The rebel has become an accepted image, even an idealized one. The rebel has been incorporated. You can't be aggressive anymore without being pulled into the system in some way or another, unless you become an extremist, which defeats the point of trying to change things. Extremists are easy to ignore and dismiss. Extremists don't really get anything done. Us against them is a form of extremism. As a result of having this revelation, at around 17, I came up with a concept which I call passive punk. I think this idea somewhat came out of the idea which I grew up with, and which is oftentimes used as a rallying cry by overworked teachers. Knowledge is power. Real power. The power to understand your own world, your own self, using your own eyes, without being unaware of the outside influences on your own mind. Using rational thought and research, rather than reactionary tactics and lazy thinking. That's Toby. And lazy thinking. This concept of passive punk has affected the entirety of my adult life. I do not believe things just because the government or the various news channels and newspapers talk about it. It's been proven that most of them are not even close to fair or balanced. I prefer to question and research everything until I completely understand it for myself in my own words. I agree with the Flowbot's line, there is a war going on for your mind. Leads me to the main point of this video post. Why I choose to dress modestly. My main reason, and the only reason I thought of until about a month after I started to cover, is to protest the objectification of women by current mainstream culture. I can accept that some women truly enjoy dressing in revealing clothing and are completely comfortable with it. Some women don't feel forced at all. For those women who really enjoy it, more power to them. However, most women aren't really given a choice in the matter, or at least they don't feel like they're given a choice in the matter. Everywhere, young girls and young women are being told that they're only worth what they're willing to take off. I grew up seeing this kind of thing, not just in advertisements and fashion magazines, but also in the movies and TV shows I watched, the Sunday newspaper comics I read. I know most of the women who are watching this post will agree with at least that much. My secondary reason ties in with my main reason. For most of my life, up until a couple years ago, I was a slim person. I had the thin body that was the model ideal. I even had people tell me that I should see about becoming a model. As a result of this, I've only had to deal with self-image issues very recently. As I've gotten older, my metabolism has slowed and I've finally put on the weight that my doctors have been telling me I should have had all along. I will be honest and say that I had never seen myself as one of those girls who had self-image issues. I was snooty about it. I thought I was better than them because I didn't have any self-image issues. I also appreciate the irony that now that I'm in their position, I've learned. I'm still learning. I hadn't realized it until about a month after I started covering, but the fact that I'm dressing more modestly now has increased my self-esteem. Now the only people who see my body are the ones whose opinions truly matter. My husband, my friends, and my family. My final reason is that I just love fabric. I am an artist by profession and have done lots with fiber art and art history in my career. I love to match colors, I love to match textures, I love to research the different methods of covering from around the world. It's just a lot of fun for me. I know that may seem kind of superfluous after the deeper reasons I just gave you, but it's the simple truth. It's part of why I cover. So, as I said, since I love to research and I love to learn, I felt that if I was going to wear different styles from different countries, I should at least research their reasons for covering. In some cases, this led to religious discussion. Despite some of the videos I've posted, I've not only done research into Islam. I've also done research into Orthodox Jews, Mennonites, the Amish, the Church of Latter-day Saints, as well as 6th century Persian religious practices. I am a member of an online modest women's group, which discusses the modern ramifications of dressing modestly. As a result, I've also met Catholic and even Hare Krishna women who cover in some way, usually similar to what I'm wearing now. The reason that I have posted videos about Islam is because the current treatment of that religion is an affront to my passive punk sensibilities. It is obvious that many people in the Western, specifically American world, aren't even trying to understand Islam, its histories, or even its basic tenets. Most people are just listening unthinkingly to what the news and the government tells them. Many people are still regurgitating the same lies about Islam which were originally invented as propaganda during the early Crusades in the 11th and 12th centuries. If this kind of mental oppression was happening to Hindus, Mormons, or any other group of people, I would be posting videos about them as well. And before you overreact, yes, I have read books by both Ayaan Hirsi Ali and Robert Spencer. I've even read The Kabul Beauty School. Infidel by Hirsi Ali is actually one of my favorite books. I'm just willing to recognize the difference between culture and religion. Please keep in mind that I am not saying Islam, or any religion for that matter, is perfect. I am not saying that all women should cover themselves up. Anything created by humans is going to be flawed. People are a crazy bunch, as I've said in previous videos. I'm merely trying to be honest, fair, and balanced. We all have to reach a balance within ourselves, within our own experiences. Basically, I just want people to use their brains, to be aware. You may not be able to change the world by thinking and understanding, but I can attest from my own life that you can change your own world.